Hey, thanks for stopping by the channel. I've decided to start a mobile bug bounty slash application security crash course for you. I've had a couple of requests on how to set up a mobile environment. So in this video, we're going to be going over how to set up Android Emulator so you don't have to have an actual physical rooted device in order to poke and prod for further testing. Then we'll go into file structure, interactive commands, and then how to set up for dynamic testing with Burp Suite. First, you're going to want to download Android Studio. For this demonstration, I'll be doing everything in a Linux VM, and I do have nested virtualization set up. So you can set it up on your host and then figure out the routing through bridge mode or whatever. But for this demo, we're doing everything internal to the VM. Once you have Android Studio start up, you're going to go to More Actions and then the Virtual Device Manager. I already have one set up here, but we can go ahead and click Create a Device. Here, you can really choose whatever option you want. Generally, I try and stay away from anything with the Play Store button enabled, because this just enables some other security nuances that will run into issues later with testing. Generally, I like the Nexuses. For this one, we can go ahead and just start up a Nexus 6 and then click Next. And then here, I like to stick with API 28, which is Android 9. If you want a previous version, like going into NuGet prior, where they don't do the systems integrity checking and all those other security mechanisms, you can go ahead and download that, but we'll go ahead and stick with Pi for now. And then we can just click Finish. And then this one, we'll click Start. So once you click Start, it'll launch the emulator, and we'll just go ahead and wait for this to finish cold booting. And that's how you set up a Android virtual device. As you can see, this device works just fine. But we launched this through the device manager. In order for us to do more testing with the actual device, we're going to have to work with the command line. And so we can go ahead and just close this one out. So you're going to want to locate your SDK directory for Android Studio. This is where you'll find most of your tooling for Android Studio. So mine was in my home directory. And there are two directories in SDK that we'll be focusing on, and that are Platform Tools and Emulator. So first we're going to want to cd into Emulator. Here you'll find the binary emulator. This one we'll be using to start up our Android virtual device. So first we need to actually list the AVDs, which would be just tac list tac avds. Here you can see we have both the one I just created and then my previous one. So in order for us to initialize one of these emulators, we're just going to have to do emulator and then AVD and then the emulator name. And hopefully this starts up, and there's our emulator from the command line. So now we're going to get into ADB, which is Android Debug Bridge. You can either go to the Platform Tools directory, or you can apt install ADB if you're running a Linux machine. So I already have it installed. So let's go ahead and get started. So first we're going to do ADB devices. This will show you all the devices currently attached. that you're able to communicate with. Next, we can do ADB shell. We are now interacting with the actual AVD, which is your Android virtual device. Here you exist as a shell user, so if you do an LS, you'll get permission denied. Since this is a rooted emulated device, you're able to just type su. Here you can type ls and you'll see those errors are gone, who am I, and it'll display root. Okay, getting into some basic file structure. If we go to system bin, these are all your system binaries. If you were to do an LSAL, you can see everything is coming from Toybox. If you're familiar with BusyBox, it's the same concept. Toybox is a lightweight package with multiple executables built in. We can go ahead and go to data local temp. This directory is world writable, which is good to know for future use cases. Another one would be cd data miscellaneous Wi-Fi. This one contains your WPA supplicant file. And then one we'll be messing with here shortly will be the Etsy security CA certs. This is your system cert store where non-privileged users cannot write to it, but will be throwing in the BurpSuite certificate here later. Okay, and then another one would be CD storage self primary. When looking at this, when you go back to the Android emulator and you click files, this downloads is the same as this downloads. So if we were to CD into download and then echo, please subscribe and share with friends, right, into test.txt. We go back to the emulator, it's right there. And we can open it. We can just open it up in HTML. Come on. And there you go. Another way to get files onto a Android device will be ADB push. So if we had a file and we wanted to put this onto the Android device, we can do ADB push, the file name we're trying to send, and then the directory. I always send everything to data local temp. And then when we ADB shell back in, go to data local temp, you can see it's there. Okay, now that you have a basic understanding of the file system, interactive commands, and how to push files to the device, we're going to go ahead and install BurpSuite in order to look at the traffic through a proxy. Now, since we're using a Android device running 7 and later, we're going to need to install a system level certificate. And with that, we're going to have to use the command line instead of the device manager to start up the AVD. Okay, so first we're going to grab our BurpSuite certificate. I'm going to go ahead and just start this up. Now, BurpSuite is a awesome proxy tool, heavily used in web applications, but we're going to use it to proxy requests coming from an application on a Android device. Okay, first we're gonna want to go to proxy and then the options tab. And then here we're gonna go to import export CA cert, and you're gonna choose the DER format and then click next. We'll go ahead and just save it in our in our home directory and just call it BurpSuite. .dir. And next, and we can see that it's saved. So that cert is the one normally that you import into your browser in order to proxy the traffic. But we're gonna go convert that certificate in the correct format and throw that on the Android device. Our next step is to start our emulator, but use a TAC writable system flag. So that just gives us some extra abilities to work with the file system. You'll see here shortly. Okay, now you're going to go to the directory that you saved your burpsert.der formatted. We're going to use OpenSSL and convert our burpsuite.dir file and do a .pem formatted file. And then with that, we have this now. Now we're going to take another OpenSSL command and utilize the new PEM formatted cert and figure out what we're supposed to name the certificate. So we're going to take this string and rename our burpsuite.pem file and add a .0 to it. And then now we're going to push that certificate to the device using ADB push 9a to data local temp. And when we go to ADB shell, cd data local temp, we can see it's there. So first we're going to back out of our shell. We're going to do ADB root. And then we're going to do ADB remount. So now, if you remember the certificate store I showed you on the device prior, we're basically going to be moving this file to that certificate store. Then we'll go ahead and we'll CD into it, make it a little easier. And then the next step is to change the permissions of it to 644 for that certificate. Then we can double check the emulator by going to security and locations, advanced, encryption and credentials, trusted credentials, and then going down until we see our port swigger cert, which should be right here as a system level credential certificate. Okay, so let's go ahead and close this emulator. We'll go back to BurpSuite, and if you happen to change the port at all, take note because we're about to use this interface with the port when starting up the next AVD. Now we're going to actually restart our emulator with HTTP TAC proxy in order to specify that local host address in order to route our traffic. So we'll go ahead and start that. If we go to our BurpSuite HTTP history, we can already see a bunch of requests that have started up just to the Google API from startup. But if we wanted to be specific, let's just go ahead and open up Chrome. And we'll intercept. And then we'll go ahead and turn the intercept on. and we're still getting those APIs. I should have just whitelisted all those. Let's go to, actually, let's go to YouTube. And we can see, here's the request. We can forward it. Actually, we'll just turn everything off and then hopefully it'll start loading up through. When we go to HTTP history, we can scroll down and see the request being made. That pretty much sums up how to set up a Android emulator and routing traffic to dynamically analyze all that. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. There's more Android testing, bug hunting stuff coming up. Be sure to check out my other videos on CTF walkthroughs, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.